you down the motorway. There was something about you that day. I can still hear the shimmering sound.
Welcome back, friends. Today I have some spring house and garden projects that I want to share. I have some recipes I want to share and even a little DIY. I just love sharing these simple homemaker projects and things that I'm working on around the house. So I hope that this can inspire you and I hope you enjoy watching, and we will get right on into the video. The first recipe I'm going to get started on today is homemade vegetable broth. I shared this last year, but I just ran out and I needed to make some again today, so I thought I would share how to make it. It's onion peels, carrots, celery, some herbs, and I'm going to bring you through the process. So anytime I cut up an onion or cut up a carrot for a recipe, I will save the scraps of those, and I have just big gallon sized bags in the freezer that I will throw those into, and then I'll just put on it veggie scraps for broth and save it up until I get enough that it will fill up this Instant Pot full of veggies. And then I'll go out and get some fresh herbs. Right now with spring, all the fresh herbs are growing back in, so it's a perfect time to use some of those in your broth. It adds a delicious flavor, so I went and grabbed some thyme. You can also add in parsley, put that in there. I also normally love to add in peppercorns, but I was out of them on this day. So then I'm just going to fill the rest of it the way up with water, so like 8 to 10 cups. Put the lid on and then pressure cook it for 15 minutes. And then this is when we took the lid off, and this always smells incredible. So from now on, if you don't already, try to remember to save those scraps and turn it into a delicious broth that you can add to any of your soups. I make vegetable soup with it, add it to like potato soup. We cook all of our rice in broth and use it in so many recipes. So I love having this on hand. I want to venture into making chicken broth soon. I know it's really easy. I just need to try it out, but I would love to make homemade chicken broth as well. It is so much more affordable and, of course, so much better for you.
Despite all, you're my best friend.
Next, I just strain it over a bowl, and then from there I pour it into mason jars. You can pressure can this broth, or you can stick it in the freezer. Just make sure you leave enough headspace at the top so that when this expands, when it freezes, the jar doesn't bust. But as long as you leave enough space, put a lid on it, then you can stick it right in the freezer. Here's what the broth looks like after it's all jarred up, and next I'm going to share with you our favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe. So we just ran out of all of our pizza crust that I had in the freezer and cookies, so I'm working on making up 2 more batches of pizza crust so that we can have some of that for easy pizza nights. And then I also like to have these cookies. These are our favorite chocolate chip cookies. They are gluten-free, made with almond flour, and they are the best chocolate chip cookies. I'm pretty sure I've made these before on my channel, but I can't remember, so I will link the recipe down below again in the description box. If you click on the see more option below my video, if you're on your smartphone or desktop, you can pull that down and it'll have all my links down there of recipes and things like that, or anything that I mention in a certain video. So I'll have this cookie recipe and also the pizza crust one linked down below, but they are so good. The almond flour just adds a really nice like texture and flavor to them, and then they have the chocolate chips, and they are just our favorite chocolate chip cookies. So we love to have these in the freezer, and so I just did a double batch in here, and then using the cookie scoop, I just scooped them onto this parchment paper, and then I'm going to stick this cookie sheet in the freezer and let them freeze solid, and then I'll put them in a Ziploc bag, and then you can just pull them out and they'll each be little individual frozen cookies, and you can put them on your cookie tray and bake them straight from frozen for like 10 minutes, and then they're done. So I will have this recipe linked below as well. I was gonna film the whole process and then I just got started and I forgot to pick up the camera, but I just put it all in the KitchenAid and let it mix together, and then now I'm working on scooping these out. So like I said, again, I'll link this recipe below if you want to do this or make these, and it just makes it easier since we love to have them all the time, not to have to whip it up every night. You can go ahead and have them ready in the freezer to go. So I started doing that a couple months ago and it just makes it so much easier. So let's get the rest of these cookies rolled out. I also always use the same gallon Ziploc bag several times in a row, so once we're out of cookies, it's still in good shape to be used again. So instead of throwing it away, I'll just save it, put the cookies back in the same bag for several times until the bag just eventually gets worn out. Then I'll get a new one. But I learned that tip on YouTube and it's super helpful to just help save on plastic bags without getting a new one each time. So this is the same one I've been using. I think this is like the second time now and it's still in perfect shape. So we're just gonna throw the cookies into there and then put those back in the freezer. Now it is time for a little lunch break, and I thought I would share with you my salad I'm going to make today. I really needed to use up and start using some of this homegrown lettuce. This is our spring lettuce. We have this here in this little cold frame window box. I love having this for lettuce and kale and stuff like that. It keeps the bunnies out of it from getting it, because in years past they have got our lettuce and spinach and kale before. So it keeps them out, and then it also protects it from the cold weather if we get any more really cold nights where it might frost. It's just really good for growing things in the springtime especially, and I end up growing things in it all summer long too. It's just a really good little outdoor mini greenhouse box. So I'm gonna use some of that lettuce, cherry tomatoes, some boiled eggs from our hens, and then I'm gonna throw some chicken on top that was left over, a little dressing, and I thought I would just share with you this simple lunch today. After lunch, we decided to head out and go check out one of the new Amish greenhouses in our area. We have a few of these, but this one is new this year, so we've been excited to check it out. They had so much already, and we were so excited. So many beautiful flowers, hanging baskets, every vegetable plant you can think of. They already had so much good stuff, and I will share with you what we got once we get back home. And then we also ended up running by another little Amish bakery that sells like groceries and baked goods and things like that, and I'll share with you a haul of everything once we get back. I wanted to share with y'all a haul really quick of everything we got from the Amish greenhouse. It's kind of windy, so I hope you'll be able to hear. But the first thing that I got is this adorable little bicycle planter. I thought this was just precious, and I thought it would look so cute in the little herb garden area over here. And then I got this pink flower to go in it, another pink flower to go in another pot that I have, and then one of these really beautiful vines. We got, like I said, a few Amish paste, and then we got jalapenos, some green peppers, green bell peppers, several different cucumbers, and then let's see, some Better Boy, Carolina Golds, and just some of our favorite different tomato and pepper varieties. So that is the little Amish greenhouse haul, and now I'll share with you what we got from the other Amish store. We were out of several of our spices, and my favorite place to get them is the Amish store because you can get really good prices on them, and I love the variety that they have of all the different spices and seasonings. We got 2 things of onion powder, garlic powder, peppercorns. We got paprika and chili powder. I ran out of almost all of this at the same time, and I like to have a pretty good quantity of it on hand because we go through it fast. And then 2 things of cumin, and then some parsley flakes, which I will have homegrown ones ready in a couple weeks, but I was already out of them and I use that in a lot of stuff, so I wanted to go ahead and get one of those for now. I thought I would share this recipe too with y'all really fast, and another reason that it's good to have a lot of those spices on hand to make your own little like seasoning mixes. So this is taco seasoning. I shared this recipe on Instagram the other day and I'll share it here, but I've been making this for over a year and it's so good, and I love just having a big jar of this filled up because I use it to season tacos, taco soup, quesadillas, burritos, just any type of Mexican meal like that we have. It's so delicious, and so I will have the recipe for that linked down below. And it uses like 2 cups of chili powder, paprika, cumin, and several other spices, and you can store it in a jar, shake it up, and then it's ready to go for meals. And you just use 2 tablespoons per pound of meat, so super easy. And like I said, I'll link that down below too. And then also she has a really good garlic salt recipe and seasoned salt, so I like to keep all those mixed up for easy recipes. I'm gonna get this little flower planted into this little bicycle planter, and then I'm gonna head over and get a little work done in our herb garden bed. It really needed just like a quick refresh of some mulch. We put this little cute white fence around the edges of it, and then I topped off the mulch a little bit and got it looking all fresh for spring. And then I'm gonna add that little bicycle planter into this space as well, just as a little decoration. Here's how the patio and the herb garden are looking for spring. And next I'm going to share a very simple DIY, and maybe you can make one of these for your herb garden or your flower bed or even one of your planter boxes or containers. So I thought I would share the process of this little project. This is one of the easiest and most simple crafts you can do, but I just went and found some wood in our shed. We have a lot of scrap wood in there, and I got a few different sizes to decide what length and what size I wanted the sign to be. And then I'm just going to use some craft paint and a very thin paintbrush. You can make a stencil for this, you can draw it on and then paint it. There's a lot of ways that you can kind of make your guide and then paint so that you have a nice stencil, but I'm just going to freehand because I was okay if it looked a little bit messy. I wanted it to just look homemade and simple, so I just wrote Herb Garden on there in cursive. You can just do any font, of course, or put anything on it of what you want it to say. If you're making a flower garden sign, you can make one that says fresh cut flowers. Again, this is just the easiest little DIY, but I still thought I would share it. I really wanted to just make something easy instead of buying a sign for this little garden bed. So I think it turned out pretty cute, and then we just put it on a little tobacco stick and stuck it in the ground. What are you doing? Okay, last but not least in this video, I thought I would share with you a little antique store haul because we stopped off today while we were out at the Amish stores, and we also went to a little thrift slash antique store that always has beautiful finds. And so I thought I would share with you the few little items that we picked up. So the first thing here is this beautiful, beautiful vintage hand mirror. And the mirror is in perfect condition. It's so beautiful. It was $5 and I just had to get it. Look at that beautiful floral design, and that is going to go on my vanity. I'm so excited about that. It'll match my other vintage hand mirror that I found a couple years ago. And then I got this whole stack of vintage butter pats for $9.99, and vintage butter pats can be so expensive. Every time I see them, some of them are like $20 each. They can be a lot at different antique stores, so I thought that was a super good deal for all of those, and I'll unwrap them in just a second and show you each of them. They're really pretty. And then one of you suggested in a recent video those brass candle holders that I got in my previous video, to put those all along the kitchen table and create like a little centerpiece with them. And I thought that was such a good idea, but I tried it out and I didn't have quite enough to go all the way along the center of the table. So I saw these today at Goodwill and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and grab those to go along with it. So anytime I see one, I'll just pick it up until I have enough to go along the whole table. And thank you so much again for that idea. It looks so pretty in there. And that was a really good idea to use them on the table. So they were $1.99 each, and I thought that was a good price. And then I also got this one, which was also $1.99. And I have a few of these, but I just think they're so pretty. And I loved the design on this one. So that is the little thrift haul, and I'll share with you what these each look like too. And then for supper that night, I made broccoli cheddar soup. So easy, so delicious, and I used some of that homemade broth in this. I saved one jar out to go ahead and use in this because I knew I was going to be making it on this night, and it called for broth. So that was a perfect opportunity to use it, and it added a delicious flavor into this broccoli soup. We topped it with cheese and a little homemade cornbread muffin. But that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this day in the life and it gave you some ideas of maybe some simple projects you can do or recipes that you can make, and I hope it was able to inspire you with your homemaking. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you in my very next one.